Hi, welcome to Miss Music. On this channel, I'll be looking at music that may have passed you by. Now, some of the other videos on this channel are quite obscure bands that you may not have heard of, but are brilliant to listen to. However, on this video, I want to take a look at an album which I absolutely love. It's Peter Gabriel 3. Now, Peter Gabriel obviously is a massive artist, and I'm sure many people know of him. But one of the things I'm kind of interested in is, when does an artist start to fade? How many years go by before people just don't know of these people anymore? So if you know Peter Gabriel and you love his music, then there's nothing new for you here on this video. Check out one of the other videos I've made. But if you don't know Peter Gabriel, then Peter Gabriel 3 is a real kind of must listen to album. Peter Gabriel was one of the founding members of the prog rock band Genesis, but he went solo after their album called The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway in 1975. And then over the next 47 years, I can't believe it's 47 years, he has changed and adapted. The sound of his albums is radically different one from the other. It's very hard sometimes to see a continuity across his albums. And he's one of those rare musicians that I think you can call an artist. He's somebody that's created a completely unique style of music. It defies pigeonholing, it defies genres. It is just Peter Gabriel, and that's got to be an amazing achievement as a musician. One of the things that really amazed me about Peter Gabriel is that over 47 years, nearly half a century, he has only released 9 studio albums. If you discount the music that he's made for films, that's amazing. Just 9 albums in nearly 50 years. And I think that's because he's somebody that takes his work incredibly seriously. And that's one of the reasons why these albums are very different one from the other, because there's so much time has passed in between each one. So reason number 1 for listening to Peter Gabriel 3 is just the kind of scary, spooky feel this album has to it. I remember when I was 12 hearing Games Without Frontiers for the first time, and just finding this chilling. As a 12-year-old, I couldn't get my mind around how this was in the charts. It was a very menacing song about children playing war games. I'm not going to play it on here, but do check it out. It's a really brilliant song. But things get really dark on the first track of the album called Intruder, where the protagonist of this song is creeping around a woman's house in the dark, unbeknownst to her. It's a really creepy song as this intruder is touching and feeling this woman's dresses, and then getting off on the fact that she's woken up and she knows that somebody is in her house. One of the brilliant aspects of this track is Phil Collins and Phil Collins' drum pattern put down on this track. I found it really interesting when I was researching this video that Peter Gabriel told all the drummers on this album that they could not use cymbals. So they had to think of very ingenious ways to fill out the sound, to get the rhythm. And it really shows on this track. So have a listen to Intruder. I still find that track incredibly creepy. It's just brilliant how you can create that atmosphere within a song. Now, one of the reasons I thought I'd do this video is because I hadn't listened to this album in probably some years, and I was listening to it last week and I was just struck by how brilliant it is. I think unlike other albums that achieve greatness and then kind of fade, and I think this is true of some of Peter Gabriel's albums. For example, the album So was such a big hit in the 80s, but it's really not one of my favourite albums anymore, and I don't think it's stood the test of time. But Peter Gabriel 3 just gets better and better with time. One of the reasons this album is so classic is just the sound that's been created by the guitarist Robert Fripp that produced the album and also played on several of the tracks on the album. And Fripp brings a similar atonal mechanical whine to this album that featured really heavily on David Bowie's Super Creeps and Scary Monsters album that was released around about the same time. You can almost see these albums as twin albums. Very similar sounding in places, but very, very different outlooks. While Bowie's album dealt with things like fascism and drugs and fashion and looked at the outside world and society, Gabriel's album is more inward looking, and to me it's exploring the darkness of the human mind. On the next track I'm going to play I Don't Remember, Fripp is joined with the bassist Tony Levin. So on this track you've got one half of King Crimson playing with Peter Gabriel, and it really shows. Have a listen to this.
Identification. I got no paper show you what I am. You'll have to take me just the way that you find me. What's gone is gone and I do not give a damn. Empty stomach, empty head. I got empty heart and empty bed. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Reason number 3 that you should listen to this album is because of Peter Gabriel's voice, his singing. It's quite amazing. I've always been a big fan of Peter Gabriel's voice, and it was one of the first things that drew me to listening to Genesis. Like David Bowie, Peter Gabriel doesn't sing a song, he performs a song. He becomes a character, and that influences his vocal style. There's something marvelously theatrical about his voice. And Gabriel's voice can be very soft and melodic, but also angry and aggressive. And on Peter Gabriel 3, his voice is at times sinister and lustful, as you heard on Intruder. It can be mournful and angry, as on the end track, Biko. On Family Snapshot, it's scared and awkward and frightened. Nobody really sounds like Peter Gabriel. Nobody gets that theatrical range. Nobody has that very honest, truthful quality in their voice. He is amazing. Have a listen to this final track, Not One of Us. If you like this video and you want to listen to some music that maybe you've never heard of, bands that you've never heard of but are great, check out one of the other videos on this channel, and please do subscribe if you like these videos. Thanks for listening. Take care.